welcome, travelers, to the Mustard Seed Realms podcast, episode number 2. My name is David Liberto. I'm the founder of Mustard Seed Realms, and today we are going to talk to Christian author C.C. Uri about motivation for authors. The interview will be a little bit later in the episode. Let's launch into the Mustard Seed Realm updates for July. In publishing, we have big news as we reveal the release date for book number 1. The launch date will be November 15th. For the ebook and for print-on-demand version through Ingram Sparks. There will be no audiobook initially available, though we are in talks with narrators. There is some debate still going on about whether or not we will go wide with marketplaces such as Apple, Kobo, Google Play, and Amazon, as opposed to just strictly being exclusive with Amazon in their Kindle Unlimited store. I've already expressed why we're going to go with Kindle Unlimited initially for the first 90 days and see how it goes. But there was some debate as to whether or not we should allow that 2 to 3 week period before we sign that contract or enter in that deal with Kindle Unlimited, where we allow readers from across the world to have access. So if you have an opinion on the matter, go ahead and leave a comment and we'll take a look at everything. For book 2, the beta readers currently have it, and they are crushing it. They're leaving great reviews and providing awesome feedback, and I can't wait to jump in on that revision. I've got to wait for a few more of them to finish up. Finish up as soon as you can. For book 3, there are 2 drafts that are currently written, and I've kind of put it on a shelf right now. I'm taking a little break from it while I work with the other books and some of the things I'm going to talk about. I really like to come back and revisit it after some time away, and that's one of the more enjoyable revisions that I do, covering anything from plot, characters, pacing, just big picture edits that I do, as opposed to more fine-tuning in details. For publishing, there are a number of other projects and books that are already written and some that are need to be written. I will not go into details right now, but just know that this is not a one-stop shop. We've got a lot of content and wonderful stories for you to read. In the Mustard Seed Realms gaming studio, we've made significant progress. For those who may not know, we have 2 different games that are in development. And when I say in development, we're talking indie games that are being bootstrapped with assets being acquired. And I'm doing a lot of the work, and we have some others who are helping out. But suffice to say that the first game is a 2D video game. It's pixelated with pixel graphics, and it follows the story, or one of the stories, I should say, that we have written already. So it's kind of neat to merge and combine 2 different aspects of Mustard Seed Realms, the stories, which should be in everything that we offer in Mustard Seed Realms, but also the video game. We also have a more secret project, and I can reveal that it's a 3D project done with Unreal Engine, and it's really exciting as well because we get to incorporate the Myriad storyline, the city that you see behind me, into that particular format. And seeing it play out right now is exciting because you get to have a different angle in creating a story. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. More details on that to come. Regarding Web3 and digital collectibles, we are finalizing plans for the first collection that will be associated with Book 1. One thing that I've said frequently, and I'll continue saying it over and over again, is that we have these digital collectibles that are going to be specifically associated with products, and that they're going to be products in and of themselves that fit within the economy of Mustard Seed Realms. So we'll look forward to sharing more details about that in the future as well. And of course, can't forget the wonderful shirt that I'm wearing from a family member who made it for us. If you are on Facebook, you would have seen more details about that. I can't say anything here, but you know who you are, and thank you. This is awesome. Everyone loves it. It's really fun. Official merch will be coming out later, but this is really exciting to have something here. So I don't know if you can see it. I'm not going to stand up right now. One of the things I wanted to address, and one of the questions that I get asked often, would be, what is the target audience for Mustard Seed Realms? And it's a complicated answer, as evidenced by the Venn diagram that I was able to work up. Basically, we draw from four different communities. We have the speculative fiction reader and writer community. We have the gaming community. We have the Web3 blockchain community. And last but certainly not least, we have a religious community, a Christian community. Although, having said that, we have had interest from people of other religions, including Islam and Judaism, but also atheists and agnostics have had interest in Mustard Seed Realms as well. And you are all welcome. I love to share the stories that we have. While the message that I like to share and have been very public about is a God-fearing message, at the same time, the story is what encapsulates everything, and it flows within the story, and I think that's really important. But going back to the communities that we pull from, obviously at first right now we have the epic fantasy storylines going through and the books that are coming out. So there's going to be readers and writers who are going to be involved. But then you have gamers, as I mentioned, that we're making video games. And a lot of them will have this deep sense of needing a story, needing lore. And you can argue that really good video games have that story aspect to it. I think you can't have a good video game without a great story. So we're looking forward to, again, bringing those pieces together. Also, I'm a big believer in the technology that's available in Web3 and the blockchain. And again, used as a product, I think that can actually unify and integrate a lot of the different stories and books and games that we're going to be producing, all the while pulling again from this God-fearing Christian message. So there's a lot of overlap, as you can see in the diagram, and really the short answer is we're looking for the ultimate nerds who would love to kind of combine everything together and have a lot of fun with it, and that's really important. So just really wanted to share that with you. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our guest today, who is going to be Miss CeCe Uri. She is a Christian author of fantasy and dystopian fiction. I met her on the Facebook group Realm Makers, which is a group of Christian speculative authors. And I think they do other fiction as well there, other stories. I don't want to misrepresent, but it's a great group to belong to, a lot of resources. And again, they're having their convention, and I wish them well this weekend. As for Miss CeCe, again, she is a fantasy and dystopian writer, and she is a single mother. And today we're going to be talking about motivation for authors and as an author. So let's jump right into the interview. All right, hello. We have Miss CeCe Uri here. Miss CeCe, hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. CeCe is actually a return guest, believe it or not. She's been here before, although you may not have seen it. She has been very kind to work with me on all of the wonderful technology. So thank you very much. Miss CeCe is a Christian author. She has two published dystopian fiction books and a
Mhm.
third one due out in September of this year. Her first book, finalist in the Realm Makers Awards for Science Fiction category. Please tell us a little bit about your publisher.
So my publisher is Snow Ridge Press, and the co-founder Savannah. She actually started out as my editor for another series I was working on, and then during lockdown, they decided to start a publishing press. And I said, "Hey, I'm sitting on this other book. It's a dystopian. If you guys need to sort of, bulk up your stock." And she was all over it, and that was that.
Please, the name of your series and of the two books that are available now.
So the series is called the Divine Courage Trilogy. It is a futuristic Esther retelling. And the first book is called Defender. The second book is called Betrayer. And then the third book, the title is yet to be released.
Got it.
So,
Got it. Thank you. Please, you told us about your book. Tell us a little bit about your family life, a little bit about what you're doing right now with your family.
So right now, I have a 2-year-old child. I'm currently a single mother. Unfortunately, last year, my ex decided that we would just, be happier, the two of us. And, it was totally a God thing. He saw us through everything and he protected my heart. And, I know he's going to protect my child. So I have kept my full time author status through the divorce and everything. So I am trying to be a full time mom to a rambunctious 2-year old and a full time author, which is difficult, but I hope I'm making it work.
And so you mentioned that you had two books out already. I understand that you had had some books that you had published prior, but
Yes,
are not currently on the market, and that you're working with those. You're still writing more.
yes.
Being a full time author, which I am slightly envious, at the same time being a full time mother, how do you make that work?
So I will really try to keep myself motivated and not burn myself out. So that way, when I do have time to write, I'm able to sit down and write. Um, but normally, I'll stick to writing during nap time after bed. I'll call up either grandma or grandpa, to hey, you wanna take your grandkid for a couple hours so I can meet this deadline or something like that. Everybody's really good about stepping up and helping out, and they're supportive of my job choices and everything. And so I am truly blessed. Like, this is the career God wants for me, and it shows in how things are coming together despite difficult circumstances.
That is awesome, and I really hope and wish for your success. I hope you can stay full-time author and full-time
Yes.
mother. I'm really glad that you do have the family in town, someone who can give you some assistance. With you having the 2-year-old at home and
Hmm.
being the full-time author, there's definitely a sense of drive, a sense of purpose. I would even say ambition. Specifically, we're going to talk about motivation. What motivated you to become a writer, and how did you develop your interest in your faith and applying it to your writing?
So I've always loved writing. Even as a child, I would make up stories in my head to help me fall asleep at night. Um, it didn't work because the stories were always too interesting, and I wanted to, play those out instead of sleeping.
We
Um,
all do it.
but with that, it just sort of progressed. It was something I've always wanted to do, but it's like, oh, you want to be an author? Like, it's not a practical job. So I started doing practical jobs, and I ended up always having to quit, or, I mean, I was never fired from anything, but I quit a lot of places that was just poor work environments, or I just wasn't, a good fit for the job. Either way. And then I just, started writing again as an adult. And then I realized, oh, when I'm working, I don't have any ideas to play with. And when I'm not working, I get, I have all of these ideas that I can write. So maybe there's something to this. And then I was able to take a year in between jobs. And that's when I finished my first novel. And, I put them out. They were in my married name. I put 3 books out of a fantasy series, and then circumstances being what they are, I ended up, pulling them, and I'm reworking them now, and they're going to soon be in the quarry process. Which, for those who don't know, that means I'm prepping them to send them out to publishers. These fantasy books are very very faith based. So I'm trying to get the best representation for them that I am able to, meaning that I want God to take these books in his hands. So whoever, even if I publish them myself again, but so there's that. And then for motivation, um, normally I pull it from the Bible. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but I've got this big old work Bible. It's a journaling NIV Bible that I have. And instead of like making the pages all pretty or aesthetically pleasing or something, I'll take a pen and then I'll color code books. Like I have a pretty teal color for Defender, and then verses I like, the whole passages, inspiration. I'll just underline all those verses, and then I'll just write little snippets next to it in that color and stuff like that. And if I have really bad writer's block, I'll pull my computer out. I'll pray over my computer. I'll just spend time with God without my computer and just, pray to overcome my frustrations and everything. And because ultimately, these aren't my stories, they're His, and I want to tell them the way He wants me to tell them.
So that leads right into my this question here. When you're writing, what is the message that you want to convey as an author? We had discussed it a little bit about what we hope the readers will get out of it. What is the common thing, or what is the driving purpose and your motivation that you want readers to take from what the stories that you've written?
So a lot of my books, they come from the same sort of idea, but they're not the same themes that I want people to pick up on. I understand that Christianity isn't always the picture perfect,
How dare you!
pretty thing that people always say that it is. Just look at the Bible, for example. Like, I'm going to be cliche here and use Job for an example. He was the best of us all, and he had everything taken away from him. It's not pretty, it's not cookie cutter. Sometimes life is hard, especially with mental illnesses and stuff. So I try to focus on stuff like that sort of gets swept under the rug. In my books, I don't glorify sin, but I will write it.
Yeah.
And show how, at least how I can see God seeing you through it, which I think is more impactful than, just the perfect happy couple having the perfect Christian life and then the perfect happy ending.
People don't resonate with that. I don't think. I don't know. That's some people will definitely resonate with it in the sense of that's what they aspire to. You can argue, contemporary secular culture. I think a lot of people, when they see the Mary Sue couple or the perfect protagonist, I think sometimes they will have difficulty relating to it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm on board with you there.
For the trilogy, with having Larkin do this and seeking out Maxim and stuff, I am hoping my readers will take away that it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter, whether you're in a happy season or a sad one or an ugly one. You matter to somebody. You are loved, you are important, you're cherished. And I hope that whether, they decide to come to Christ eventually or just stay the way they think will make them happy, that they learn that they matter.
That's just so huge. I resonate with that. That speaks to me. It's something that I like to employ, not only when I'm talking to other people, but also in the writing. There's so many. There's the conversations that you can have about this. We can go so deep. At the end of the day, the bottom line is it's really important that people understand that they are loved. God loves them. And there's a whole host of religions, obviously, the monotheistic ones are the ones that I'm speaking to more so. But at the same time, so many times, I think it speaks to so many people where they feel that they are not worthy of anyone's love, much less God's. You said a lot of amazing things there. First, the target audience, knowing that, 16 and up, it might be better for them because it's some deeper and heavier themes. I think that's really important, not only because you're writing a story for the ideal, reader that you have in mind, and so it's good for marketing. It's good for getting the message across. It helps maintain the motivation. So I think that's really good. Just knowing that the primary focus, not necessarily the primary focus, but one of the messages that you want to have is that people need to understand that they are loved, that they are special, that they are important. And I don't think you can say that too many times. I'm not saying
No.
that it has to be, the daily affirmation in the morning when you wake
Hmm.
up, but oftentimes you can even say it to yourself, but it's so important to hear it from other people. And when you
Hmm.
read and you suspend disbelief, you kind of really allow some of your guards down and open yourself up to that story, into that universe, into you immerse yourself into with the characters. And I think that's a great message to reveal and to share. I feel really convicted. I feel really, it really is a mission to
Yeah.
reach out to those who may not know Christ, or and really what it comes down to for me is the conversations that I've had with some people in the community and online, where they love fantasy, for example,
Hmm.
and they come across the monotheism, and they have questions, and they're not looking to
Hmm.
attack, but they have questions. And I think I may not be able to convince them about Christianity, and it may not be my purpose at that particular moment. But again, this just really struck a chord with me, because I think it's very important to reach a vast audience if you can.
Yes. No, I agree. And the definitions were put in front of me recently, and I'm very thankful for them, because my books are not, they would not be categorized as Christian books. They would be considered faith based books. So, a lot like Lord of the Rings, where it doesn't flat out say, like, oh, Gandalf is Jesus and this, and this. It's just, if you're a Christian, you can pick them up. If not, it makes you, sort of, oh, I wonder what this book is talking about. So,
I, can you just take a second and dive into that a little bit more? Specifically, that distinction between faith based versus what is designated as Christian.
yeah. So the definition I saw, the Christian books are very much, that they're Christian. So a great example of that would be the Dare series by,
I know I'm putting you on the
uh,
spot. You're doing really good.
oh, no, it's okay. So it's Teresa Mingerink,
Okay,
where it's like a futuristic, it's fantasy, but it's in the future. And they do talk about the Bible, and she's the
I
lost
see.
princess to the kingdom, and she reads her Bible in secret. And, they do talk about God. And so faith is very, put into the book.
Gotcha.
Whereas for Defender, I don't call God God, I call him Maxim.
Yep.
So Larkin, the main character, she's always trying to learn about Maxim, and she's wondering about him and what he has in store for her life, and is just sort of trying to figure things out, just like any regular normal person. So mine has more of a theme than an actual, like, yes, this is a Christian book and this is how you come to worship God, and, so on and so forth. And I think that those kinds of stories are, unless you know what you're getting into, because, there's all sorts of negative Goodread reviews where they're thinking, oh, this is a fantasy book and I got Christianity crammed down my throat and I wasn't expecting it. So I'm giving
Always.
it, 1 star, which, my heart breaks for those authors, but, it's faith based books are more for people who don't quite know what they're getting into, and that has more of a softer theme to it, still conveying the same message.
Oh man, you're totally coming back, and we're gonna have a conversation about this, because no, it's a really big deal to me, because
Yeah.
you are gonna have those people who
Hmm.
they read the book, they want their good old fantasy book, a whale reader,
Hmm.
once a year reader, doesn't matter. They see something, they pick it up finally. They're investing their time into the book, and all of a sudden they find that there's a lot of talk about the deity. And I really
Hmm.
think that if you can tie that faith-based component and I'm not sure if in the context of this conversation I may not be even saying that right, but if you tie the faith-based component into the lore itself and where it makes sense and it flows with the
Mm-hmm.
story, I think that there is an argument to be made that it is not necessarily cramming it down somebody's throat, but you are
Yeah.
presenting it in a certain way that hopefully makes them ask certain questions. So I think you laid it out very well.
Yeah.
Um,
No, if I could reach one person with my books and make a difference, that is enough for me.
I think that even if someone is not writing Christian based or
Mm-hmm.
Christian oriented fiction, speculative or not, I think on some level, every author hopes that the theme that they are trying to insert into the story and the message that they are trying to insert will hopefully resonate with the reader. And so, again, I think it's just a very valuable medium for missionary work, for authors with that strong conviction to be able to use that, tell the good story. It comes across and it can really, maybe on a subconscious level, as you mentioned, but it does have an
Yeah.
effect. I really think it does.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've definitely read books that I come away feeling like, oh, that was such a needed, fresh breath of air. In other books, I'm just sort of like, that kind of made me feel icky.
It does. Okay, okay.
So,
I'm gonna rope us back in, get us back on track. Let's talk about your books. Let's talk about the ones that you have out right now, the ones coming out. If I am a reader and I'm listening to this podcast or watching this video, please share with me why should I pick up the books? What's so valuable to you about them?
so my books are not quite to the extent of dystopia as some other books are. They're more along the lines of like the Hunger Games, where they're futuristic, but they're, you don't have this huge hierarchy and all this stuff you have to follow. So if you are a fan of the Hunger Games, or if you enjoyed, uh, I think her name is Amy A. Bartle, her Second Born series,
Yep.
um, the Chosen One trope, any of those things. My books are definitely for you. Like I said, they're going to be a little bit more adult, a little grittier. They deal with some heavy topics. If that sounds like, if any of these topics that we discussed are anything that you have interest in, I'd say pick up my books. The first book, well, really all of them. I took a leaf out of Tolkien's book when I set up my trilogy. Um, I knew the first one was going to end on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
So I just worked around that. So, like the Lord of the Rings books, it's just one big story that is broken into three. Um, so, the first book sort of sets up the characters and the drama, and you get all of the fun information stuff, and then the end hits, and then you get right into the second book with all of the drama and everything, and that one ends on sort of a cliffhanger too. So if you're like me and cliffhangers make you really mad, I would recommend getting the first two books out that are available now, so that way you don't have to wait. um, but really, yeah, this series is about a girl named Larkin. She is sent to the military by her family. She makes friends. She learns secrets about herself and about her family, and she has to ultimately make a decision because she's told her whole life that the rebel group, the Faithfuls, are bad. They're fanatics. They're, just evil people. She ultimately learns that maybe everything she was told wasn't quite true. So she has to not only deal with her self worth and all of that, she has to really learn to sort of trust herself and her instinct and really rely on Maxim, God, and sort of just find her way. So, if any of that sounds like something that you would be interested in, then I would definitely recommend that you pick up Defender.
And those are available. Or and then coming out, do you are you have you released the name of the or the title of the book that's going to be coming out in September?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
it's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. I do know that Snow Ridge had sent me the schedule for all of the book three goodies that will be happening. So there's that. It's going to be coming out in September, like we said.
For the audience right now, we're recording this in early May. CC had mentioned that the title might be available in a couple weeks, so that we're
Mhm.
looking at, maybe around early June, but we're not committing to anything. We're just discussing.
Where the books are available.
Oh, yes, yes. Well,
um,
go ahead.
you can get them on the Snow Ridge website, which is great because with Amazon, you have to pay out royalties
Yes,
and
yes.
the printing costs and all of that. With Snow Ridge, it just goes to them and to me. So if you like supporting, indie authors, small businesses, all of that kind of stuff, then definitely go look at their website. They have two different watermarks. Mine is part of the Winterwood
Okay,
watermark, which means that they are, clean, all of that stuff.
I see.
One thing I really like about the Snow Ridge website is for all of their books, they have rating systems underneath the summary. So you can see, how much certain like language is in it, certain content is in it,
Hmm.
violence, stuff like that. So it's all rated there for you, so you can, get proper age group type stuff with that. Um, Otherwise, you can get my books on Amazon. They have them available in paperback, hardcover, ebook. If you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, you can read through both Defender and Betrayer for free on that. And Defender is also available on audiobook. It is an Audible exclusive. It's narrated by the award-winning Trista Shea. She is also a realm maker, so if you want to support two realm makers in one go, definitely go with the Defender audiobook.
There
She
you
is
go.
currently, yeah, she is currently in the middle of Betrayer, so that should be coming out within the next couple months as well. So,
That is
yeah.
awesome. That is really good that you're also getting it done on audio.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those, it can be a little pricey to do audio, so props to
Yes.
you. Props to you. Talk to me about socials. Where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
All right, so you can find me on Facebook under author CC Yuri. You can find me at Instagram. I recently started a um, professional Goodreads page where if you want to see what I am reading for work, what I'm reading, for research and stuff, you can follow that. Um, right now, you can see I'm in the middle of Cozy Mysteries. That may or may not be a hint for something in the future.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Uh-oh.
um, but I have my rating system on Instagram, so you can see sort of what I rate my books by.
I see.
And then I do have a website
Okay.
that you can see all of my upcoming author events, both online and in person. You can read my author's testimony there, hear more about how I got my start. You can see my projects that I'm sort of working on, my recent releases. And then hopefully we are going to be setting up my newsletter soon and sending out January 1st, 2024.
Sounds good. That's a lot of good material, and it looks like you're going to have a busy year and come back to. It's amazing that you're full time as an author, full time as a mother. That is a blessing. So it sounds like things are going to be packed this year, and I hope
Yes.
that you can continue to be not only productive but also successful, like we mentioned. So for everyone out there, this is Miss Cece, and please check out her books. All of her materials will be available. You would have seen them already through the visual the video that we have, but also they're going to be in the liner notes, so don't hesitate to check her out. Cece, thank you so much for taking the time. Again, you've been very patient with my technical difficulties. Really appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right.